when you contribute towards your body, when you invest in your body.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to the Better Together show with Shafy, Ridwan, Johan and myself Atik. Today's show is going to be about fitness. Shafy, do you want to let us know a bit more about today's show?
Oh yes. So we're going to be talking about fitness in Ramadan essentially today. We're going to have two special guests coming on. Very talented. We've got Nazia Khatun coming on, known as Fitness Reborn on Instagram, and also we've got Zafta PT coming on as well. Hopefully, they will give us some wisdom. They'll give us some hints, tips, and essentially some motivation today as to why fitness is so important, and also how we can keep that level of fitness up in Ramadan, the do's and don'ts essentially.
Also, the song that you guys heard earlier is by JA Vocals. It was all vocals only, featuring Mudassir Iqbal. It was done vocals only, so no music. So guys, check that out on YouTube at JA Vocals _ on Instagram.
So today, guys, I feel like this is a show that Shafy will shine in today.
Oh,
He's
here we go again.
into his fitness. I'm looking forward to this one, to be fair. 'Cause
Yeah.
I honestly don't take as much as I should care about fitness in Ramadan, especially in general, as I should. So I'm someone that I can go to the gym for a couple of months and then I'm off it and then I won't go for another year. I'm that type of person. So I feel like the points made today will be relevant and hopefully I can take from today as well. So
Exactly.
inshallah, we'll see what
Absolutely.
happens.
I mean, you know, this body that we've been given is a gift. It's a ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And especially if you have nothing wrong with you, in the sense that alhamdulillah you have a perfectly functioning body, it is then down to you to return it in a state which was given to you, I guess. I mean, you were born healthy, so the least you could do is look after yourself and be as healthy as possible. Because it's not just about being physically healthy. When you are physically healthy and you're looking good and you're feeling good, it makes you feel good mentally as well.
Yeah.
And that obviously contributes towards your entire lifestyle, doesn't it? Because having a good, positive, happy mentality means happy life.
It does, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think this Ramadan, since lockdown actually, I think I've let myself loose a bit. And the thing is, it does affect me. And I think one other thing about fitness is it's not just what you're doing with your body, but it's what you're putting in your body.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I can feel it this morning for our iftar yesterday. It wasn't good on my body at all. But one thing that I think I need to start doing as well is improving my cardio and my fitness, because even while I was at gym with my gym partner Hussein, shout out, is a lot of weight training, which is good, alhamdulillah, because I've got a target in mind that I want to reach. But I've also got a target where I need to improve my stamina, because I can't run. Like I can run, but you know, I run 100 meters, smash it.
I mean,
and
we
then
did-
anything beyond that, I'm out of breath. I'm on the floor.
Yeah, we did start a few morning jogs and stuff like that, didn't we, on a nice sunny Sunday.
I feel happy.
A couple of
Yeah.
and then just kind of stopped. So I think the reason why it stopped is probably just because of the motivation. Like what we used to do normally was just be like, all right, you ready for this Sunday and stuff like that, and we used to just prep ourselves up. But then after a bit, maybe, you know, things got busy or other things came up, and then we just forgot about it. And then when you have your training partner and that person doesn't go, then it's like
The motivation's not there.
Yeah.
The motivation's not there, and it impacts you as well.
I
do you
think
know
that's
what I mean?
that's down to two things though. Like I feel like a lot of us, especially the youngsters, we're not really clued on with what we're doing. Like you have this, you know, this hench culture, where it's all about having the muscles.
Yeah.
But that's not what's realistic. What it's all about. You can have the muscles, you can lift the heaviest of weights, but you don't even know what you're doing to your body. You could be lifting the heaviest weights, and you might feel like you have a lot of strength, but realistically, that's injurious to your health. Do you know what I mean? We don't know really how to be fit and how to be healthy. So I feel like it's quite important for us to even like get a bit of education, a bit of knowledge, and a bit of background as to what we're trying to do, first of all, right? Like Atik just said, I mean, it's all good being jacked up, but if you can't even run, mate,
Exactly.
that means there's something wrong with you. Now, our body, alhamdulillah, are designed in such a way where it's supposed to be active. It's not supposed to be stale. It's not supposed to be static. It's supposed to be active. So if we are unable to run, if there's things wrong with our breathing, you know, subhanAllah, breathing is such a massive thing. Like we don't even know how to breathe properly, believe it or not. It's like the breathing's an entire science in its own.
You know, when you actually have control of your breathing, you don't have a flow properly. So
Absolutely.
the reason why you're on like autopilot when breathing is because your body breathes for you. So like you don't realize when you're breathing. It's the same way you don't see your nose when you're looking at yourself.
Yeah, no, remember breathing
So
is
it's like
massive.
it's the same with breathing. So
And-
if you're in control of it, you become short of breath and everything. So you can think about it now and you try to start breathing.
Yeah,
And you're like,
exactly.
you're like that.
Like in the military services as well, in the elite military forces like the SAS and so on, they do breathing training
Yeah.
because like we don't even know how to breathe properly.
Yeah,
That says it all
yeah,
for us,
yeah.
innit? We just don't even know how to breathe properly. So that's like, I feel like, so that's two things. Like we need to educate ourselves on how to be fit. Like for example, something that might be good for Ridwan might not be good for me in terms of our body types,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
So I need to know who I am. I need to know what my body type is and what kind of food goes well with me, what kind of sleep goes well with my body, and how I should be working out. If I don't know these things, that's why people get demotivated, because they end up doing things that they're not really, they don't even know what they're doing. And when they don't see results, because it's one of those things, isn't it? Working out.
It's
You're not going to see
result-driven.
results overnight.
Once you're overnight,
You're not going to
takes
do like a
time.
100-meter run and all of a sudden feel like Usain Bolt, right? You're not going to feel that way. Because it takes time, people lose motivation. So I think when it comes to fitness, it's about longevity. Do in small chunks, but do it consistently. Know what you're doing, and hopefully, inshallah, should be fine.
I mean, the weight side of things, like, you know, everyone can go to the gym and, bang at the irons and everything like that, come back, feel good. But I mean, in terms of like everything else, like doing your jogging and, you know, just the outdoor kind of activities and exercises, right? Don't you think like the weather plays a big role? Because for me personally, the weather's always been a massive issue. Like, if I know it's not like something I need to work on, but I'll just put it out there. Like, I don't know if it's windy or even if it's a bit grey outside or something like that. I'm just there like, you know what, I can't be bothered. But I know for a fact, like, you know, when you see Instagram posts on people in America or something like that, you know, when they got the nice sunny weather, they got nice terrain and everything, they're out jogging and everything like that. And I feel like if I was in a different country, yeah, maybe I'd do that as well.
Mad.
Environment.
I mean, this is something I
Environment's
remember
important.
reading this in a book. I can't remember which book it was in. It was a while back now, but it talks about this very thing, yeah. And mad thing is, somebody said earlier about motivation. Was it yourself?
Yeah.
I think it was Shaf talking about people lose motivation. What is motivation? You're never gonna always be motivated. There are gonna be down days. There are gonna be days where you're not feeling up to it, yeah. But because majority of people operate themselves based on motivation only, when they lose motivation, they stop doing whatever. And that's just not that's not just limited to fitness, by the way.
No.
It's whatever. When you lose motivation, like, I can't be bothered anymore, right? But what tends to happen is your brain works in such a manner where when something's uncomfortable, it presents it in a fashion which is uncomfortable. I'll give you an example. So suppose the action of eating, right? If you think about it, if I break it down to you, the action of eating, you got to get up, you got to go to the kitchen. That's a walk, right? You got to take a plate, you got to put that plate down, you got to put the food on there, all kinds of food in the right portions, then you got to put it in the microwave. How long does that sound? Already sounds like a massive chore, doesn't it?
15, yeah.
But do we not do this every single day? Yeah, because our brains are so used to it. Yeah, it's comfort. That's exactly the same way the brain presents the idea of working out.
Okay.
Like, oh my God, man, you gotta get up, you gotta get
Yeah.
dressed, you gotta get out there. It's raining, it's snowing, but it's about the mindset.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? So you are supposed to train your brain and train your mind in such a manner where this becomes second nature to you. And obviously, it takes time.
Does it?
These things ain't gonna happen overnight. You have to do it consistently over a period of time till it becomes second nature to you. Because look, people like me and you might not be out there, but there are people still out there that's jogging in the snow.
Yeah, of course.
People are jogging in the rain. So what's different about them? They're not special human beings. They also got like 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose. Do you know what I mean? They're the exact same human. I've seen some like elderly people even, and hats off to them, respect to them. You know what I mean? I've seen them like jog around in extremely cold weathers in the UK. Yeah, I'm talking like 0, 1, 2. Like we don't want a December cold,
Yeah.
proper cold. They're still out there jogging. But why, as me and you, like in our 20s, we can't do that? It's because we haven't trained our mind in such a manner. We haven't trained our bodies in such a manner where that is okay for us to do. Why is it so comfortable to play COD for 6 hours in a row, but it's uncomfortable to jog for 10 minutes? We don't really ask ourselves these questions, do we?
No, it's a fair point.
Exactly. So I feel like the key to it all is education. You need to educate yourself on how your brain works, how your body works, and it's your responsibility to look after yourself. Ain't nobody going to come and do it for you.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, who here, like, I know you used to do a lot of martial arts back in the day?
Yeah, I did.
You
Yeah.
want to give us a bit of insight on that, Chef?
So yeah, when I was like 13, well, actually before that as well, probably when I was like 10, 11, my dad used to go to the gym and then he used to bring me along as well. So
Okay.
we used to do, he used to go do his weights and everything, and I used to go train kickboxing and everything like that. And since that age, I picked up that, you know what, it's, martial arts is one thing as well. It teaches you how to fight. It teaches you self-defense, right? So it builds your confidence up in that sense. And also, I had a bit of weight then as well, so it helped me lose weight as well in that sense. And from there, didn't take it much seriously. But then, like near like year 7, when I was 12, 13, took it a bit more seriously. And then, like you said, consistency, right? I started off doing Saturday, Sunday mornings, 9 o'clock, 9 till 11, or no, 9 till half 12 actually. And thinking about it now, if I'd wake up Monday to Friday, 8:30 or whatever, go into school and stuff like that, do you think I'd wake up on a Saturday, Sunday at 9 o'clock as well to do something, or would I sleep? Everyone would think, you know, I'd sleep and stuff, but I actually went in and done the training as well. And I used to walk it there as well because my dad didn't wake up. So imagine that. I was 13 years old and, you know, and still active and stuff like that. And I think that shows, because I love to train and stuff like that, right? I was willing every week to get up, do my beginner session, and then go into another session straight away as well.
What was it you're doing? Was it
So
Thai boxing,
it's
isn't
Thai
it?
boxing, yeah.
So do you know with Thai boxing, is there a mental thing about it as well? Are you taught? Like, do you know? I don't know if is it mantis and stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah. So
So
I think when we were younger, we had a lot more. We were a bit more active, because when I was in school, as part of our PE, we were taught Southern Mantis.
right.
It's a bit militant, I know, but
Okay.
one of the things is
Mantis is extreme, man.
it is especially on the stances that we have to put in. But one of the things that we had to do is we were made to run outside in the snow barefoot, and like right now, for me, I think a big part of it is fear, and that's probably what's stopping us. It's either a fear of the cold, a fear of getting ill, or fear of discomfort. Because I've done it, I've run laps in the snow. But I don't think if it snowed tomorrow, I'd be like waking up and thinking, yo, let me take my socks off, shoes off and go run. But, you know, physically, I know my body is capable, or if it's not capable, I can make it capable.
It's a mental thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And just like any other fears, like I'm not scared of dogs anymore. And that's because I was forced in a room with a dog and I was forced to sit there. But that was me straight up against my fear. And after like the 2 hours spent, lovely dog, her name's Lola. After like the first, like,
was that recently, by the way? Or?
no, this is going back a while. When I was
it was yesterday.
when I was in St. John's Ambulance, and we had a little dog mascot, and she was always there, and like I was scared, but for that most of the 2 hours. But as it left, I'll put my hand out and pet it. But I think that's because I faced the fear directly, and I think until we go and do it, same with the gym. I had a fear of I had a psychological fear of, you know, I can't go to the gym, I'm too skinny. I'm going to start off on weights that everyone's going to look down at me on. And now I don't. Now I can go on my own. Before I used to be like, I would only shadow the people that I knew that were already at gym and all of that. But again, it's a mental thing. And until I went to the gym and until I looked at all these big bodybuilders in the face and in the eyes, that was my fear there. And until I faced them, it wouldn't have changed.
I think it's like stepping into an unknown territory in a sense as well. Like, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. But once you've gone out there and experienced it, and you're involved, and you get used to it, then you know there's nothing holding you back in a sense. You know what I mean?
So it's just as much as a mental thing than it is a physical thing. Then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like it's more of a mental thing than it is a physical thing.
Right. Okay.
Are any of you familiar with someone called David Goggins?
No.
Never come across this guy before.
Never.
No.
I would sincerely request you guys to have read up on this guy, or watch him on YouTube or whatever. I came across this guy randomly, to be honest with you. I read a book called Can't Hurt Me. It's one of the best things I've ever read, right? This guy used to be what we would call very big, right? And he wanted to basically join the Navy SEALs, which is like one of the most elite forces in the world, right? He lost, I believe, something along the lines of 48 kilograms within a period of 3 months. That is mental, bro.
Was that healthy
Yeah.
though?
Obviously, it wasn't healthy. But what I'm saying is that if you look at his journey, you got to read up into his journey. He had to do that because that was the only shot he had to enter for the Navy SEALs. You have to go through a bunch of tests. If he had missed that, he would have had to wait for a much longer period of time to get back in. to get another shot at that basically.
Or
And
was it to show that you can lose that much, or is it because
yeah,
he actually was
so for
overweight?
him it was like a mental challenge. He was like,
Okay.
yeah, I can do this. Then what happened was he became like an invincible type of guy, like a superhuman type of guy. And if you read his book in his biography in Can't Hurt Me, and he talks about this, he became like what you call like an ultra marathon runner.
Okay.
So we're talking like 101 miles in a desert. Have you ever heard of the Badwater?
Is it like the
ultramarathon?
Is it like the Iron Man like marathons and stuff like that?
It's in the Ironman one. You obviously have swimming and cycling and so on,
Right,
but this is
okay.
just running. So
Oh,
you're talking
okay.
about like through deserts and through mountains and things like that.
Right, okay.
He completed 101 miles in 19 hours.
Wow.
19 hours. Just to put that into perspective, it takes me half an hour to do 3 kilometers, right? He done 101 miles in 19 hours. That was his first goal, by the way.
Near enough Birmingham to London.
Absolutely. And to the point, like, basically, what I'm trying to say is, it's got nothing to do with his body. If you read the story, he says, when your body gets to that stage where you can't breathe anymore,
Yeah.
and you basically, you're giving up. Your body's only operating at 40% capacity.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you still have 60% left in the tank,
Wow.
which you have to access through your brain.
Wow.
This guy,
Yeah.
I believe, yeah, that's fine. This guy, I believe, if I remember the book correctly, I think it was either 26 miles or 13 miles, ran on broken shins.
Wow.
I'm not even joking, mate.
Yeah.
Broken shin, not even a splinter, mate. You know when we're running, when
Yeah,
you've
we
been
get splinters.
inactive, you get splinters.
Mm.
He broke his shin, right? And he ran the remaining 13 or 26 miles. It was. I'll obviously clear that up when I go home, inshallah. On a broken shin.
Yo, his legs
To the
bruised.
point where, and I'm not trying to be crude, he actually defecated himself as well,
Bloody.
right? But he didn't stop. He didn't stop. And he says it's all to do with up here. Yeah? And he was doing ultra marathons year after year after year. He was getting invited to all these like big ones that people like dare not to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
120 miles in a desert, 120, 101 miles in a desert. Who's going to do these things, man? You know what I mean? But he was doing all these things.
Wow.
And so I would recommend that book. I read that book in like 3 nights, bro. It's about this thick. Well, obviously I can't show that on the radio, but it's about this thick.
Yeah.
But I was hooked onto that book.
Yeah.
I've never read a book so like I was never into a book that much. Put it that way.
Mm.
That should have taken me like over a week or so if I read it slowly. Yeah.
Crazy.
In 3 nights, bro, I just clocked the whole book. It was that interesting, and you don't even have to read the book. Just go listen to his podcast on like. Can I mention podcasts? Yeah.
Yeah.
On names and stuff like that. Right. Okay. Yeah. On Joe Rogan's podcast, if you go and check it out, David Goggins he's truly a very inspirational man. Honestly.
Will do.
So when it comes to fitness, I believe, coming back to our topic, it's more to do with your mental side of things than it is to do with the physical side of things.
Mm.
Yeah. Because if you got it up there mentally, and you know how to test your body. In fact, I was listening to an interview by Will Smith, and the interview asked him. He said, "What's the secret to your success?" Right? And he said 2 things. Number 1, reading books, because throughout the history of mankind, there hasn't been a problem in somebody's life that you are not facing right now.
Yeah.
So the solution is there. There's no need for you to be depressed and have anxiety.
Mm.
Go look for the solution as opposed to just sitting there doing nothing. So number 1 is reading, and number 2 is running. What he really meant was working out, basically,
Yeah.
because it constantly allows you to step out of your comfort zone, and in turn, it allows you to increase your comfort zone, right? Push it and push your boundaries over and over again. What does it help you develop? Your mentality, your
Confidence,
your
mentality,
confidence, your mental strength, who you are as a person. Because you believe in yourself more, don't you? Because you're like, yo, if I can do this, I can do whatever.
Mm.
Yeah. So he said those are the 2 things to his. And this is obviously a man that's clearly successful. You know,
Yeah.
he's a global sensation, and I don't need to obviously talk about my man, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like the mental side of things, gets affected a lot more than the physical side of things. Well, what do you think? Obviously, you were speaking about your experience of the whole martial arts.
Yeah, I'd say passion, purpose, and your mentality as well, I guess, because your body can do only so much, right? But if you keep pushing yourself and stay consistent, then you will achieve the goals that you have. As long as you know the goals that you have, and remember coming back on yesterday's topic, the intention that you have to do the fitness training that you're doing, whatever. As long as that's always there, right? Keep that relevant. There's no reason why your motivation should decrease.
Yeah, it is a big mental game. I think that'll lead us perfectly on to our first guest that we're going to have straight after the break, who is Nazia Khatun, who goes by Fitness Reborn UK on Instagram, online, everywhere. And I'll let her explain why it's Fitness Reborn. But the great thing about her is she's a coach, just not for the physical body, but also for the mental mind. And she is brilliant at understanding that everyone has this the struggle within their mind that when they come to training, it's a mental barrier, mental block. Things like how depression and anxiety can affect someone's fitness levels and ability and willingness to train. And that's something she taps into, and inshallah she can give us a bit more insight on that after we come back from the break. And then of course we also have Zaf on the next segment. So inshallah, if everyone stays tuned, we have a lot more to talk about. But we'll be keeping to the mental state of mind as soon as we come back off the break. So inshallah, we'll see you after the break. Okay, that's fine. We're going live now.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are back with a Better Together show on Ramadan Radio 87.9 and online on ramadanradio.com. Just before the break, we were talking about how our mind affects us when it comes to training. And so far, we've been keeping to the general training, not even mentioning Ramadan at all. But I think a big drawback with Ramadan and lockdown is that a lot of people are, feeling a bit sad and demotivated and don't really want to go on. Which brings us perfectly on to the guest we have on now, who is, as I explained before the break, Nazia Khatun, who goes by Fitness Reborn UK online. So, Nazia, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. I'm joined in the studio, of course, by Johan, Shafy, and Ridwan, who will introduce themselves as well.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. You okay?
Yeah, not too bad, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. First of all, we're really sorry for waking you up so early in the morning.
Yeah, you should be, right?
We all have to do it. We've all travelled to the studios also. We had a bit more to do, but
I know,
we're
I
very,
know.
we are very, we are very grateful for you joining us today. Of course.
Thank you.
The reason why we picked you for today's topic is because, of course, you are someone within the fitness industry. You are a personal trainer, but the great thing about you is you're not just a personal trainer of the body, you're also a personal trainer of the mind. And first of all, I'd like you to sort of give us a little bio about you. Who's Fitness Reborn UK? What are you about?
Okay. So I started Fitness Reborn probably about 8 years ago. So I've been in the industry for a long time, but way before that, I've been training as well. So essentially what the program does is uses neuroscience and fitness combined together to take people on a self-discovery journey, getting them to heal, but most importantly, it's getting them to fall in love with their bodies as well. And it's essentially understanding how we have the power to recreate the way we think about ourselves and rebuild our life from a different perspective. And fitness has been one of the biggest ever tools that I've used to help myself and help clients. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. And you also mentioned it was something to help you first, and that a mental barrier in itself that you needed to overcome before you could carry on with something like this.
100%. Everything I've done with the program has been from an experience of self-help for myself, right? I had an eating disorder when I was young. In a Bangladeshi community, we don't speak about that. Then I was also a boxer for about 8 years. Again, back then, it was not even heard of a Muslim brown chick to be boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I changed careers and I slipped into depression for a long time. And again, fitness was the only thing that helped me come out of it. And I understand the power of the mind. I understand the power of the body. And it's important that, you share your experience with people who are probably in the same boat as you. There's always somebody who's living your past and there's somebody who's always living your future. So that's what I do, and that's where it comes from.
100%. And bringing it to topic today then, with the current situation where we're in lockdown and then also now we've got, as Muslims, the added stress of Ramadan, which is a blessing as well. But for argument's sake, for this topic, we'll imagine it to be a secondary stress. With
Yeah.
things like this burdening us, and things like this keeping us from, wanting to go out, bringing our willingness to do things down. What are you doing in the current state that's keeping you active? Because we do follow you on social media. We know you're still continuing with your sessions, and
Yeah.
you're still on Instagram Live guiding other people through, their motivation and their fitness journey as well. So what's keeping you motivated? What are you doing
To be honest
currently?
with you, yeah, alhamdulillah, like I said to my sister, it's like, if this was to happen about 5 years ago, I don't think I would have survived it. But knowledge is also very powerful, and what we do with that knowledge is down to us. And everything we do in life is an experience. So for me right now, it's learning how to adapt to the situation. And way before the lockdown happened, I just stopped using the gym for a whole week. That's my coping mechanism. A lot of people's coping mechanism has been stripped away right now. So what do they do when they haven't got the facilities to survive at home within the four walls? And, not a lot of people have the luxury of being at home as well. And the main thing I wrote in an article was we have to adapt and recreate a new routine to help us survive this. And we have this saying where it says survival of the fittest. It isn't survival of the fittest. It's the one who can adapt the most an environment that has longevity of survival, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is I've got into a practice of writing gratitude lists all the time. Every morning I wake up, I write down about 10 to 20 things that I'm grateful for. And what that does, and it takes us away from the fear of what's going on outside, and it allows us to focus on the positive things rather than the negative things. I think I've had about 4 episodes where I felt really, really low so far about this whole situation, not being able to go out and everything. But alhamdulillah, I've also got my own body. And people forget your body is the first gym that you have access to. This is the most important gym that you have access to. And then working out at home has kept me mentally sane. I've been going for my walks. I've really enjoyed going for my supermarket shopping trips as well,
You've been enjoying the long queues.
Nazi, I've got a quick question. Do you know, in terms of motivation, and not just motivation, the mental aspect of going to the gym and keeping up with fitness, what's like the most, like your go-to to most people's way of overcoming that, not that fear, overcoming like that mental state of wanting to go to gym? Like, what would you say?
Right, motivation is something that's very, very overrated, I think, in the fitness industry. You have to understand the neuroscience of motivation and how it lives in our brain, the chemicals of motivation. If you're somebody who's constantly eating junk food, who's constantly thinking negative thoughts, words have power over us as well, right? You don't actually utilize the powerful chemicals in your brain, the dopamine, the serotonin, the endorphins, okay, first of all. Secondly, why I say motivation is very overrated is because everybody thinks that they need to do a gym session. Everybody thinks that if they don't go to the gym and they don't train or exercise, they are lazy, right?
Right.
The bottom line that happens is we don't know why we're going to the gym, okay? Every single one of us, our behavior derives from a core place of our value, okay? Why do we do the things that we do, you see? And the other one is people don't practice enough of going to the gym because we don't see results quickly. We want, instant gratification of everything. Everything is fast-paced in our society, but people don't have the patience. So when people don't see those things happening, they give up quickly. And the best way to get yourself motivated, right, newsflash, is to actually practice going to the gym all the time or practice exercising. And I say the word practice because everything we do in life is actually essentially a matter of practice in it. We don't all become good at our craft in one day. We don't become good at our craft by doing it once. We have to keep doing it. So therefore, repetition is the master of everything. And what we're doing is training the subconscious mind and giving it a new blueprint. So to answer that question, the bottom line is, if you're somebody who's struggling with motivation, get a piece of paper out
Mm.
and find out why you want to go to the gym. What are the benefits of going to the gym? And somewhere in that list, your main priority list will come up of why. So, for example, if you're a single mom or you're a mother or you're a father, you want to still live for your children. You still want to be able to play with your children. So that will be your biggest ever driver to get yourself healthy and fit.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no. I've got to take for that, to be fair, because I've never actually tried writing down. I mean, I know writing down, say, for example, goals and so on, but I've never used it to like with gym. So I feel like that might be able to help me in terms of just going to the gym more often and keeping fit. So something I'll definitely take from, inshallah. I'll let you know as well how that goes as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Nazia, something you mentioned earlier, you touched on the word fear and fear of going out. That's something I was also discussing with the lads here, about how fear plays a big part of demotivating us, and it's a psychological thing, because for me, for example, it was the fear of when I go to the gyms being looked down on because I'm starting at a small weight, or there's all these big people around me and I'm very small, and that was the kind of mentality that was going through my head. But you mentioned you're writing down gratitude and all of that. You also do something which I found interesting, and it's something I learned from you first, going back 3 years or so, and it's self-affirmation. Is that something that also helps you with your your mental barrier that you have, that if you're worth it, you're fine, you're good enough, you're all of that? Is that something that helps you? How does that work?
Well, affirmations first helped me fall in love with myself, and that's self-acceptance. But we are always affirming something, whether we're in a negative loop or a positive loop, okay? And the best way to understand affirmations is, again, it's a mantra, right?
Yep.
It's whenever you affirm something with the I am, you become that eventually. So if somebody says, how do I say it? I'm lazy, or I can't do it, I'm stupid, or whatever. That's what you get, right? The law of attraction works in that way. But it's not just the law of attraction, it's the energy that you put out there, okay? We have so much going on in our mind and our bodies. Our bodies are constantly listening. Your body is listening. Your spirit is always listening, as well as your mind is always listening. So affirmations are a huge start for anyone to actually build themselves up to do something that's new. And if you have a lot of fear going to the gym, I can just let you know now, right? I've been going to the gym since the age of 17 or 18 maybe. That's you thinking about what other people think about you. That's your reptilian part of the brain that's on this alert mode, right? That's constantly keeping you safe in a way, right? But nobody cares. Nobody cares. Everybody is doing their own thing. Everybody's ego is at work in their gym. Everybody's thinking about things that they need to accomplish. And remember, most people who go to the gym, they go in there for a reason of, trying to bet themselves, or they're trying to distract themselves, or they're trying to feel good, all right? So they just focus on themselves. The moment you understand nobody cares about you in the gym, you end up doing the best. Honestly, you probably be inspiring other people, and you don't have to follow the trends of what other people are doing, whether they're big guys or not. Simple.
Hey Nazia, it's Johan. I had a quick question for you, right? So I was thinking, I've been listening to you say, you're talking about self-affirmations, and you're talking about, writing about making a gratitude list and so on. But my question was, coming from like an Asian background, how would you go about motivating our people, in the sense that, like our elderly, like for example, my mom, when I talk to her about fitness, and I would mention like something like self-affirmations, or you talk about making a gratitude list, because she doesn't understand what that is. To her, that's like pseudoscience or something that's alien. So how would you come about tackling clients like that, for example?
The best way to do that is, look, we come from a Islamic background. Everything I do anyway is somehow tied to Islam, okay? I just have a different language that I use that gets people to understand it in a modern society. Gratitude is already written in the Quran. Be grateful and I'll give you more. Isn't that, there's a quote there around that, isn't there? So the best way to explain to people that are, our elderly is, being gentle with them in a way, and I don't even bring the exercise up with my parents anymore because it's a hard concept for them to understand because they haven't done it. But if you explain things from a way where people of the book or people in history have been doing it, inspirational figures, it stands out. You just have to plant a seed in some people's head, right? And that's it. And the best way I do it is understanding it for myself first. Why is self-love important in Islam? Why is gratitude important in Islam? Why is exercise important in Islam? Why are we following Islam? Our Prophet, peace be upon him, actually practice all of this stuff, meditation, gratitude. And when we love ourselves as well, remember, through us we love God. When we don't love ourselves, we're having a negative mindset. We go into the prayer mat not focused. So when we practice all of those things, even exercise, it gives us good feelings. It makes us feel good. So when we're in prayer, we're focused. Most of us, our minds are everywhere. We're not solely focused on the prayer, are we? So those little things, we just have to take it with a pinch of salt and just put it in their heads here and there. And that's the best I can do with my parents and what I do with my clients as well.
I hear that. Like, when it comes to like self-affirmations and when it comes to like gratitude list and just journaling in general, because I'm very much into these things myself, right? So when I talk to my friends about this even, and I'm talking about friends that we basically grew up together and they're like all professionals in different fields, so they understand it, they have an educational background, but even sometimes they laugh it off, and they sort of laugh it off like it's some kind of pseudoscience and it doesn't work, and without even giving it a try. And that, I'm guessing you face that on a regular basis, because it certainly aggravates me to a certain degree. So how would you say you deal with things like that when people do approach you and I'm assuming, I don't know if that happens to you or not, but I do assume that it must happen, right?
Yeah, it has. Look, we all grow up with different belief systems. We all grow up in different ways of understanding life, world, and everything. Like my sister probably practices gratitude in a different way. Yeah, that works for her, right? My friend may practice it in a whole different way that's alienated to me. Doesn't mean it's wrong. And I practice it with pen and paper because that's how I connect with gratitude, how I connect with God, or journaling or writing my feelings out. And I think a lot of people who don't understand something, they dismiss it and they take the mickey out of somebody else's way of doing something. But the bottom thing is you're living your life, and whatever suits you, you do. And if those people get to you, then keep a distance from them as well. Don't talk about those things and connect with people that do understand it. Birds of a feather flock together, right? And that will enhance your growth, and you probably learn something different from people who are practicing the same thing in a similar way to you. Not everybody has to agree with you, and I just have to accept it. It's like my way is not going to fit everybody else's. Their way is not going to fit into mine. And there you are. And that's it.
Right, okay.
Thanks for that.
Nazia, just a quick question here. You mentioned before, we're just kind of bringing it back. You're talking about doing boxing, right, for 8 years or so. I'm just a bit curious as well, just because I come from a martial arts background as well, as to why you were did boxing, how you were introduced possibly, and what kept you going, I guess.
Okay, I was very young when I did boxing, and I had an eating disorder growing up. I overused exercise in the gym, and I think it was at a point where my body was just, crashing. It was just injuries everywhere. I wasn't moving properly, and I was getting fat, I think, at that stage. And I had a very natural aggression in me anyway, and there was a lot of temper. I didn't know how to use that energy or channel it. And I always remember Muhammad Ali's daughter came into my college and I interviewed her. Muhammad Ali was a huge inspirational figure back then. And he still is. And then I just thought, okay, let me just try something different. Let me just see how it goes. And interviewing Muhammad Ali's daughter gave me permission to say females can do it. I didn't even know who she was at the time.
Wow.
When I stepped into the ring, it was love at first sight. I fell in love with the sport. The coach saw talent in me, and I learned the sport really quickly. So within 6 months, I was in tournaments and, just experiencing this journey.
Wow. So would you say, like, say if Muhammad Ali didn't come to your college or anything like that, would you think that was a big turning point, like, there
Oh
was
yeah, 100%.
there
Yeah,
wouldn't be
because
any
how
other
many
way.
females do you see out there doing sports?
That's true.
And you also have to
100%.
remember, as a gym goer in a gym, I was probably the only one that was training hardcore in
Mad.
East Ham. So naturally, I got a lot of attention in the wrong way, of course, because you're training for like 2 hours on a treadmill. People are thinking you're crazy.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course, of
no,
course.
quick
So
one,
being a
Nazi.
boxer, I think being a boxer was the best thing that ever happened to me at that time. It taught me a lot about resilience, about myself. But what it didn't teach me was the mental aspect of things. It taught me mental aspects, things of not giving up,
Exactly.
coming back up again all the time. But when I slipped into depression, it was an insight of how sports and fitness, when used in the wrong way, can also harm us. And mentally, it can be a curse because it's an addiction in the wrong way. So there's two sides to the coin of everything here.
Exactly. So did you always used to like train at home as well, or was it only
No.
strictly in the gym that you used to just
No, it was
do
always
training?
the gym, always
Always.
the gym. That was my escape. That was my only escape I had at the time.
So Nazia, we have listeners messaging in on our WhatsApp, and one listener has popped on our WhatsApp saying, "Hey guys, great show. Nazia is fab, and I am far too lazy." And then they followed it with best 3 tips for staying fit. And I'm assuming that they mean in lockdown and Ramadan. So if we can get
Okay.
your best 3 tips, or any 3 tips that you can
Right
provide
now,
us.
yeah, I mean, look, we're fasting now, so we're just calm now. But write down a plan of where you can at least fit in 10 to 15 minutes. Remember, it's not just about exercising. Your body needs to move, okay? Excuse me. So you have to learn that the body needs movement in order for you to feel good, okay? If you don't want to feel good, don't train. It's fine. But most of us do. We're always chasing this thing called happiness. We're always chasing this thing called, I want to feel good. So find 10 to 15 minutes a day. And if you can't do that, then you need to go back and reassess what you're doing with your life. All right, 10, 15 minutes. Secondly, my tip will be, like I said from your first question, is why do you feel it's important for you to train or exercise or move, okay? And then thirdly, I don't know what to say here. I was going to say drink lots of water. These are the tips. But again, let's use Ramadan as an example. Not a lot of people are drinking water enough after they break the fast. Water is a huge part of hydration and keeping the mind healthy as well. So those are my 3 big tips right now, honestly. And if you follow them, it's just understanding how do you want to come out at the end. But maybe also, another extra bonus here. Write down who do you want to become. This is a very powerful task that I do with myself and my clients. Who do you want to become in a year's time from now? And what do you have to do? What do you want to look like? How do you want to feel? What are the things you want to do? And that will give you some sense and clarity of where you should go, like a or mind map kind of thing.
Great.
That answers the question.
Hopefully, I mean, the listener can WhatsApp us back early in the morning.
Wow. You're still sleeping late.
So those who are listening can get us. If you go on ramadanradio.com, there's a WhatsApp button that you can press, or it's 07440420432. That's the studio WhatsApp number. Johan, I think you.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask Nadia, is that what is it that you're having, or what is it that you would recommend for people to have for iftar and suhoor?
Iftar and suhoor, okay. Okay, listen, I'm going to get very passionate about this. Ramadan is a blessed month, right? This is a month that was given to us not just to fast, okay? Fasting is a deeper thing, but also pay attention to how we're doing the things that we're doing. It humbles us, right?
Certainly. Yeah.
And where we do a 16-hour fast, a lot of our Asian community are just so uneducated when it comes to eating. They eat in fried food, biryani, they eat in everything under the sunlight because they just feel like they need to make up all the calories or the food that they missed out. You fasted for 16 hours. You want your body to be cleansed. The last thing you want to do is go into a food coma for overeating. And Ramadan is all about, paying attention. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, said 1/3 of the belly should be food, water, air, and then emptiness, yeah? People don't do that. They go crazy. And in order for you to have a better fast the next day, you have to focus on the food that you're eating at iftar and suhoor. So keep it very light, lots of salad. You need to have a source of protein on your plate, okay? Could be meat, fish, whatever kind of meat that you eat, lamb, mince, whatever it is. Have some vegetables on your plate as well. All of these combined give you, if they're nourishing your body after a 16-hour fast, okay? Then at suhoor is all about keeping it quite light, but we want dense food. So it could be anything from porridge, it could be anything from like eggs, and whatever you can find that will keep you going, like good fat, avocado, eggs, nuts, all those kind of things. Don't complicate the process. Keep it very simple.
Okay. Brilliant.
That's brilliant. I think that's answered your question, hasn't it?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you.
Nazia, unfortunately, we are very time restricted on our show currently, but you've been
That's fine.
a fabulous guest, and inshallah, when we do keep this going, we would want you back, hopefully to speak about your journey this time, and because we have all followed your journey, very insightful, and something
Thank
that a lot
you.
of our listeners would want to listen to. So inshallah, we'll
Can
get you
I-
back. Yep.
Oh, can I just also say shout out to my sister Salma and Khadija, her friend listening. They woke me up today. She's tuning.
Shout out.
Thanks a lot.
Shout out
Thanks a
Salma
lot.
and Khadija. I was in contact with Salma, making sure that everything's okay on your side.
The whole team
But
behind.
do you want to quickly tell us where you're at online so people can get you
Yeah.
at?
If you go to my Instagram at Fitness Reborn UK, and then my website is my first name Nazia, my surname Katoon.com, and that's where I can be.
Awesome. So our listeners that are listening, I know there's a few female listeners. Shreen is listening in as well. So shout out Shreen. She's a big fan, so I'm sure she'll be in contact with you as well.
thank you.
But Nazia, you've been great, and we're very grateful for your call. And inshallah, we look forward to speaking to you soon again.
Thank you so much for having me. I
No.
love speaking to you guys.
Glad we had
And
you on,
guys are
Nazia.
doing a great job. I'll speak to you soon.
No problem. Speak to you soon.
Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Excellent.
So, guys, that was Nazia Khatun. So we will be going on a short break, and inshallah, when we come back, we will have our second guest, and I'll introduce you in, and everyone will give you salam again.
8 seconds.
Yeah. Well. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We're back live on the Better Together show with Atik, Johan, Shafy, and Ridwan. Just before the break, we spoke to Nazia Khatun, Fitness Reborn UK. And we had an insight on how to prepare ourselves mentally during Ramadan to go out there and, find our fitness and go out there and train. Right now on the phone, we have Zaf the PT, founder of Team ZPT in Birmingham, and I'm pretty sure nationwide as well. So we're just going to introduce himself quickly. Assalamu alaikum, Zaf.
Wa alaikum salam, guys. Thank you for having me on the show. First of all, Ramadan Mubarak and salam to all you brothers.
Ramadan Mubarak to you too.
Salam.
Assalamu alaikum, bro. It's me, Ridwan.
And it's me, Shafy.
And it's me, Johan, bro.
So I think we should kick it off with so what the topic has been is mental health in terms of keeping fit in Ramadan. I think we've touched on it quite a bit now with Fitness Reborn and in general between ourselves. So
Well, we got it from a female perspective.
Yeah.
I
We
hope
want
that
it
was
from a
very
male
beneficial
perspective.
for our female listeners. But from a male perspective, because like right now in the studio, there's four guys here, so I think we're all very keen and have our own questions to ask Mr. Zaf or Mr. PT, should I call you? But
Yeah, million%. Is there any chance I would like to answer your personal questions first,
right.
and then I'll end when I've got a few minutes left. We can end with a general consensus about mental health and have a few pointers, if that's okay with you boys.
Yeah, absolutely. If before we kick off with the questions, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself and just like what brought you, what got you around to doing what you do now?
Sure. So I've been in and out into fitness my whole life. I was boxing at a very young age. I was boxing at about 8 years old, and then literally because of affordability, I couldn't continue it at like year 7, year 8. So I stopped doing it. And then I was just a normal teenager in Birmingham. It's a bit of a hard life, so you get involved in what you get involved in. And at the age of 19, I started getting into weight training because I was forced to. There was no other option for me.
Right.
that's another story on another day. But basically, from when I started weightlifting, I really felt like naturally my body is gifted to lift heavy weights, and I just felt at home. So after doing it for like 5-6 years, I needed to look into a serious career choice because nothing was lasting more than a few months. So I think it was something that was really written for me to do personally. It's something I was really good at. When I started, it was quite difficult, to be fair, getting clients in and, just indulging into the fitness industry itself is really hard. But alhamdulillah, just perseverance, I suppose, du'as, praying every day, grafting every day, and just not trying to chase a certain number or a certain credit what your average person would do. I wake up every day since I've started, and I just try to put the same graph rate in. Alhamdulillah, over the years, I've made a decent amount of money, and I've had the capability of opening my studio not far from the bull ring. I never thought I'd be able to say that. I've got 5-6 staff members working for me, but yeah, that's just the journey. But we don't want to talk too much about me.
MashaAllah. Nah, thank you for that, bro. I appreciate that. Right, in terms of questions, I'd like to kick it off, and I got a question of my own, if that's okay. So, this Ramadan, so just pre-Ramadan, I put on a lot of weight, and I'm not used to being this overweight. So I thought for this Ramadan, I will try my very best to lose as much as I possibly can in a healthy manner. So what I'm trying to do is every night I'm trying to run. Well, what I do is every 2 nights I run 3K. So say for example tonight I'll run 3K, tomorrow night I'll do 3K, and then on the third night I'll do like a very intense circuit consisting of various things, and on the fourth day I'll have a break. In terms of my diet, I'm trying to keep it very light at iftar. I have a very decent meal just after my workout, and I keep it light but healthy in terms of like porridge and things like that at suhoor. Am I doing the right thing, or am I just tiring myself out?
I'd say food-wise, you're on the right track. I'll give you a bit more guidance towards it, but essentially, when it comes to putting weight on in Ramadan, there's not a massive amount of people that do put weight on. The average person will lose weight in Ramadan.
Right.
Putting weight on, period, not in Ramadan, out of Ramadan, full stop, is basically you're taking in a lot more than what your body's expending. And in Ramadan, obviously, we're seated a lot, we're praying a lot, we're not as active as we usually are. Hence, we can't fill our bodies up with thousands of calories and expect to lose weight. But I say diet-wise, you're on the money, to be fair with you. Training-wise, is there any chance you can pull that workout before iftari time? Because that is the time when, even if you hit a 30-minute low-intensity workout, then it's going to be far more effective. You're going to be using fat cell storages first, and it's just going to be way more. You're taking advantage of the whole fast by training before iftari time.
Right.
When it comes to after iftari time, when you're going for your run, I'd say 1K in, your body's just warming up.
Okay.
1.5K in, you're in fat burning zone. As to pre-iftari, you're just straight away, you're already in fat burning zone for first exercise.
I hear you. Okay. The only reason I've kept it post iftari. Sorry, yeah.
Exercise-wise, I'd say definitely try to train before iftari. Even if you're doing it 3-4 times a week, that's totally fine. Don't stress it too much. Loads of people put weight on just by stressing, so don't stress it too much. You lose weight and put weight on, however your body's more inclined. But just try to get your workouts in before iftari if you're trying to lose weight.
Okay.
If you're not trying to lose weight, if you're trying to maintain muscle, then you want to try to train after iftari once you've got your little food break in, right?
Right.
Diet-wise, I'd just say keep it controlled. I don't want to make everybody go all robotic, but I mean, you are what you eat. So the better the food you eat, the better you're going to be able to pray in the daytime, focus in the daytime, and your day will go easy. The more you're just indulging into whatever's in front of you, first of all, you're just giving your nafs whatever it wants. Secondly, you're not giving your body the right nutrition it needs. And thirdly, you're going to definitely struggle in the day. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not giving yourself what your body needs. So I'd say you're on the right track. Just try to pull the workouts out before iftari time. If you want any workout ideas, get onto my YouTube. Get Fit with Team Z PT or after PT.
Right.
I'm not sure. It's either one of the two. And there's a full body weight circuit on there showing you what exercises to do, how to do them.
Okay. So should I cut out the runs and do more circuits then? Is that what you mean?
You don't. Yeah, if you can keep up if you're enjoying the runs, you can keep.
I'm really not,
keep
man.
on running.
I'm really not enjoying the runs.
Exactly. So then, rather than going through that whole thing, just half an hour before, 45 minutes before iftari, hour before iftari, onto my YouTube, pick 3-4 of the exercises, low intensity. Don't go in too hard.
Right.
25 minutes max, and you sort it, and you will start seeing that day by day have an effect on your body as well.
Right. Okay. That's fine, inshallah. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
I just want to make sure all the other guys get a chance to ask their questions as well.
No, definitely.
No, sure.
Nice one, yeah. Nice one for
Stop
that, Zaf.
hugging the mic.
Nice one. So yeah, I was just gonna ask Zaf. So yeah, I mean, I've been hearing everything, right? And like Johan before, he was saying about like educating yourself in terms of what exercises to do and things like that. So it's not like you're getting bored or you don't know what to do, and you just from that step you're like, oh, all right, so if I'm not going to really train anymore. What I normally do, I mean, from lockdown as well, to be honest, I'm not a heavy trainer or anything like that. I do a lot more moderate weights, should you say. And what I was doing was, doing a couple of dumbbell curls and stuff like that. But what I've seen really effective is doing press ups in general, because not a lot of people have weights. And you know what, I've been hearing a lot of stories like, oh, I'm trying to buy weights online, everything's sold out, or the extortionate prices.
They're going crazy. People are going crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know even why, man. They should have it before, to be honest.
I just agree with your point about the dumbbells, because I'm getting DMs every day, bro. Can we buy some weights?
You got some.
Borrow some.
I
Don't
seen.
need no weights to train, none at all. But
Nah.
sorry, keep going.
No worries, man. Yeah, I was just going to point out as well, mashallah, I seen on your story, you sold a pair of 5 kg dumbbells as well for about £250 for charity. Mashallah.
Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah, finally got one of them.
Smashed it, man, smashed it.
So, we're doing a live auction every day. We're trying to raise funds for the Yemen appeal.
Yeah, good
Every day
cause,
we
man.
got a different auction. And yeah, the first day of the auction, we had a set of 5 kg dumbbells. They went for £250.
Mashallah, man. Power of
Mashallah.
influence.
Alhamdulillah. So questions, come on.
Yeah, so I was going to say, what are you doing now in Ramadan, right? In terms of keeping yourself active, keeping yourself because the thing is, right, like myself now, if I wasn't to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'd probably wake up at 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. or something like that. What do you do to keep yourself active throughout the day? Because as you said, like during the day it's hard and it gets quite boring as well, doesn't it? So
Personally, I'll be honest with you. I can tell you what I do. I'm busy 365 days of the year. Well, since Corona started, I'm busier than I am on a normal day. In Ramadan, I've been busier than I am pre-Ramadan. Life just gets busier for me by the day because I'm moving house. I've got a new daughter, alhamdulillah.
Oh, congratulations,
With
bro,
the studio,
mashallah.
thank you, boys. With the studio in town, so it'll be hard for me to relate it personally. But what I'd say to everybody is, Ramadan before this, few years ago, if I'm gonna wake up in the evening, right, at about 2, 3, 4 o'clock, first of all, I feel like, yeah, I'm fast. I've beat the system, I'm gonna stay awake all day, all night, close my fast, wake up pretty late, beat the system, fast for a few hours, and then boom, iftari time was sorted. That's not just you cheating the system-ish and going away from the fact of what a fast is supposed to be. You're also, mentally, you're training your body, right?
Yeah.
You're in a robotic state. So essentially, when we're fasting, we want to try to stick to as much of routine as we can. I also myself, going back onto the same point I made, is I don't advise people to stay awake all day, probably get a power nap in. But if you wake up past 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you're at a massive disadvantage already. You want to wake up as early as you can. That don't mean 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, because there's no work and there's nothing to do, right? It's fine. But you don't want to wake up past 12 o'clock. You want to give your body and your mind that chance to wake up, breathe, understand what's happening, plan the rest of the day. There's only 8 hours. It's not hard to plan if you're splitting your prayers in between. You're giving yourself a bit of Quran time. You're giving yourself 25 minutes for the workout before iftari. Do you know what I mean? It's not more. It's more. I'd say if you're waking up on time and you're thinking about what you're going to do in the day, you're naturally already going to be at an advantage and you'd be able to organize it. Then I'll tell you ideas of what to do in the day. But if you're waking up late, you're at a disadvantage. You're not going to be able to get anything in, and there's no point trying to organize your day if you're going to wake up late. If that makes sense. If
Yeah,
you're
it
waking
does,
up at 3-4 o'clock. So straight away, you need to first of all just wake up a lot earlier. And then once you wake up a lot earlier, split your day up. So already I told you guys, I said Maghrib is when the fast close, but them two prayers are well split because I says like an hour and a half before iftar, and Zohar you could say is like an hour or two after you wake up. So before you wake up and after from each of your prayers, after I said obviously that's your time where you're going to work out and you're going to prepare your food for iftar. In your morning when you're waking up, first is wake up and stretch off. Stretching is one of the most important. Not even physically, I can train like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and it won't make me release endorphins in my brain sometimes. I won't feel good. I'll have strains all over my body. When I wake up every day and I stretch, simple stretching, 5-10 minutes, it just does wonders. It wakes your mind up. You'll feel good. You'll feel a lot better. It increases your blood flow around your body. So if you're waking up and you're stretching and then you're indulging into the day, and before, after a certain time, you're just giving that period of time for training, preparing your iftar. That's all. You've already taken up a good portion of the day. In between is each person with their own lifestyle and what they're going to fit in, I suppose.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's very key as well. Like just having a structure to the day and waking up early, getting your mindset as well. Like I think after a couple of days of waking up early and stuff like that, you'll be a bit more motivated as well to kind of just plan your day out as well, to be honest.
1,000,000%, because if you're waking up every day, you know, when you do wake up late, and I've done it myself, you're rushing the rest of the day, you're groggy, your head's hurting. You ain't got that jazba, that feeling that, you know, that you're fast. You're just at a disadvantage, essentially. That's the best way I can put it.
No, fair enough. Nice one, thank you.
So Zaf, back to me, Atik. So my question to you,
before you ask that, Atik, I just want to say something very quickly on something Shaf said. Zaf, you spoke about stretches. Would you mind at some point doing a video for YouTube with all the stretches that you possibly do, so we can follow, maybe?
And put them onto the YouTube channel. It's a really good idea.
Yeah, if you can possibly, then I can follow that.
That is a really, really good idea. I'll try to work on it straight away and get that up in the next few days, inshallah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Honestly, I appreciate that a lot.
That's
sorry for cutting you out.
That's one of the biggest issues we have, you know, because sometimes we sit in there for like 7-8 hours at a time. You know, as when you it's just our bodies are taking a lot of strain every day. So sometimes, trust me, when you do get that stretching every morning, it just gives you a better day. You're just gonna have a way better day.
For sure, absolutely.
Morning rituals.
For those of you listening, that's Get Fit with Team ZPT on YouTube. So that's gonna release some stretch videos soon, inshallah. So keep an eye out, subscribe to it. Zaf, my question to you is to do with food, and I know you released a power shake video a couple of days ago, and with me, I come from a Bangladeshi background where there's a lot of curries at home, and what happens is I'm too lazy. I wake up for suhoor, I go downstairs, there's a curry on the table, and about, you know, I try variants, so I try cereal, I try porridge, all of that, but a lot of times, this isn't just like this Ramadan, because this Ramadan's only been about 11 days so far, but previously as well, what ends up happening with me, and this contributes to my weight gain in Ramadan, is I just go with whatever's on the table, and that's basically the carbs from the rice and all the curry and oil that goes into my body, and then I wake up and there's not much action happening, so I'm keeping the calories. Suhoor-wise, what is something that you'd say would be better for me to change to instead of what's on the table? What can be easy for me to prepare and also give me the energy for the day?
Well, if I'm being honest with you, you've kind of answered your question at the start with the power shake, and I'll explain why. Firstly, look, the majority of listeners right now are in a similar situation to yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to bullshit it. A few years ago, I'd be in the same situation. whatever's on the table. You're eating it because it's a nice, good tasting food. Everybody else is eating it. It's easy, it's there.
Yeah.
And it's just the easiest option, I suppose. The best tasting option as well at the same time. Now, it's obviously is that mental choice first of all. I mean, when you're coming down for sahur and you know that this is gonna kill me tomorrow, I'm gonna have a dry mouth, my stomach's gonna be hurt, I'm gonna be hungry, I'm gonna have a headache, like just what people suffer. Like the majority of Asians, without trying to stereotype us, suffer through Ramadan like so bad, and it's just because of the food we're eating. Nothing else. If you step out towards more Middle Eastern, their diets naturally are a lot healthier than ours, and they're picking better foods to eat.
Yeah.
Hence, they're just killing their days off, and you don't. Are you actually fasting? It's hard to comprehend that they're fasting. Me, again, like yesterday, I ripped the full ceiling out my kitchen, bagged it up, put it in the front garden, alongside doing so many deliveries in Birmingham, fundraising. My day don't stop, and I have not felt the slightest strain. So it's that when it's sahur time, first is the mental choice. You know, I can eat this. This is the easiest option, but then be prepared for the consequence tomorrow. Or you can. I'll give it in three ways. I'll say the easiest, and then the hardest, and then we go for the mediocre option. So I'm not classing my power shake as the hardest option personally. I find it really easy. It's just about getting into it, doing it once, doing it twice, and then you're just gonna love it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna probably like having a shake as a sahur meal because I know you want brandy or cereal and whatever else. Not, but it's gonna really fill you up.
Yeah.
And then when you wake up in the morning and for the first 4 or 5 hours of the day you're not feeling the slightest bit hungry, you're gonna love it. You'll fall in love with them. But let's just for a minute put that onto the harder side. Waking up, getting all the right ingredients into the house, chopping them up, washing them, putting them in the blender, turning that blender on is so hard. Then pouring that shake into a glass. Look, we can't do that. That's too hard for us. Zaf. No problem. On the other opposite side, you got your curries, your brandy, your tea, your rusk. I don't know how it goes down. Give me something in between. So come downstairs and have a little bit of what's there, and then as soon as you've fed and you're feeling guilty and you got that slight guilt feeling, is when to go towards the other side. But you don't need to mix it in a shake if you don't want to mix it in a shake. Definitely get some water fruits in, for example, watermelons. Definitely get a banana in, because the potassium in a banana is what's going to keep your mouth quenched throughout the day. Like, it's 9-10 o'clock now when I'm speaking to you, and I'm going to be speaking the whole day, but I don't get a really bad dry mouth as what I see people
Fair enough.
who are like talking during fasting. You see all that white stuff coming around their mouth. The banana is going to save you from that. Also, if people are getting cramps during the day, you want to get a banana, and a banana will take all that away. That's just water retention. So banana is a key ingredient. And then you want your long-lasting carbs. So porridge. But now, if you're going to try eating porridge, having a few dates, a bit of fruit, do you know what I mean? It's going to be it's going to take a lot of time, and it's going to take a lot of effort to make them and sit down and consume them, and they're boring foods to eat.
Yeah.
So hence, if you just throw that all into a shake, the recipe for the shake is on my YouTube channel. Blend that and drink that. Yeah, it's not the best tasting if you're comparing it to a paratha, right? But you just try it for one day and see how your day goes, and I think that is what's going to give you the encouragement. Like,
So you're telling me, Zaf, that you haven't even had one paratha this Ramadan, yeah?
I have
take that as a
I
yes.
haven't had one paratha this Ramadan. No.
So he's got a better mental game than us.
I'm fasting, by the way, so I'm not bullying you. But look, if at the same time, I'm a human being, and my mum makes that fire food.
Yeah.
So I'm not here for 1 minute trying to tell you guys to not have that. I'm saying if you're having a healthy breakfast, we know what that is. That's fine. That's perfect. You're in the best situation. I've only been doing that because I've had no time, literally, to indulge in anything else in the house. But for example, I'm sitting there for an hour or two, and my mum's putting that food out. I'm definitely going to eat the paratha. I'm definitely going to have the tea and everything else. But that is like what I'm snacking on. My main meal is my power shake. I know what I'm having for my main meal, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
And also another thing that I see people thinking if they have cereal in Ramadan that they're going to put weight on. It depends what cereal you're having if you go for your whole grains because they taste good and I know people will go for the option. You can have cereal breakfast in a few days does the trick. Just try not to go for like Cocoa Pops or
Yeah.
sugar. Try to pick something more whole grain Cheerios or porridge oats. But essentially, look, healthy eating isn't fun. It isn't the best thing to do. It isn't the easiest thing to do. But we're sitting in a situation where majority of our community have got diabetes, heart problems. Every single household, you'll find somebody who's struggling. Am I right in saying this?
100%.
Definitely.
How are we going to break away from this?
I don't
By
think we
still
can, you know.
indulging in what we've been doing for the last 20 years? Or
Exactly.
do you think it's time that we stepped away and started introducing better healthy habits? Because when it's your own parents who's got diabetes and when it's your own siblings who have got it, it changes the game for you a bit. And for like, I've seen Asian families literally change their routines around. And even one of my clients, he came to me, type 2 diabetes, he was really struggling he couldn't walk up the stairs without getting out of breath. And
Wow.
just like exercising is separate. You need a PT and a cushion and all that. But if you put that to a side and you just diet, the amount of benefit you're going to see and how you're going to see your body itself just heal. Because if you're fueling your car with red diesel after a bit, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Common sense, but sometimes it's the simplest things that we complicate the most. And when it comes to diet, it's just about keeping simple. I see so many fraud diets, these slimming shakes and keto diets and the lot of it, right? You don't need to follow none of them unless you're trying to lose weight for a wedding or for a birthday or for a certain event. But as soon as you do lose the weight up until the event, the day after you're going to put double the weight back on because you're not hitting a natural diet. You're not picking the right food. You're going extreme for 2 weeks. So what I'd say is just slowly incorporating healthy things into our diets. Is the best time to do that is Ramadan. Because our body physically needs good food, it needs good energy supplies. So, I mean, if we can pick up a few good habits in Ramadan and drag them out throughout the rest of the year, you will definitely see health improving in all your households, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Have you got time for the other two questions? I don't mind, I've got hours.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, we will go on a break in 50 seconds. But when we come back, if you would like to stay with us, that'll be great. And then Ridwan can put his question through and then we can level off after the break. Is that okay?
Perfect.
No problem. Also, just for the viewers, apologies for any language used that will offend people. We do understand it is quite early in the morning.
Yeah. Apologies, guys. I did use the BS word.
Yeah.
Just one of them things.
Yeah, it's just one of them things that come out. But it's all right.
We are in conversation, but we apologise nevertheless to all the listeners.
We try to keep this show very natural, hence why some words may slip out, because that is easier for us to be natural than scripted. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi everyone. We're back, Better Together show on Ramadan Radio 87.9 FM and online on Radio Ramadan Wolverhampton, Radio Ramadan Wolves.com actually. You'd think I'm awake by now. Just before the break, we were with Zaf the PT. We've still got him on the line, inshallah, and we will pass on to Ridwan to give him his next question.
Assalamu alaikum, guys. Assalamu alaikum, Zaf.
Walaikum salam.
Quick one. So with me personally, to be fair, I'm still currently working. So my day-to-day is normally how I'd be when I'm not fasting or in lockdown. So I start from 7 a.m. And I'll come back at 5 and then from there I'm helping my mom out with her stuff. So she's currently got a small business. And then I'm doing runs for her and I'm not back until iftar time anyway. So my diet currently is the food that I'm on, so it's like pakora, all of that sort of stuff, and it's not amazingly healthy, but she'll put a side of the salad, and I want to like incorporate some sort of fitness into my lifestyle currently. So I've got 20 days left of Ramadan, and I want to have a diet. So for my suhoor, I'd have Weetabix, honey, bananas, just to keep me going throughout the day. But I want to improve that and have some sort of fitness within it. So I don't know if it's like a 5-minute one or even a couple minutes just to incorporate it through the day. What would you recommend?
Well, I'd say you're in a very, very similar situation to myself. And I know how hectic that day can be, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's very, very tiring. Sometimes you get into that stage where you're feeling sorry for yourself, thinking, bloody hell,
Honestly, yeah.
everybody's at home chilling while I'm here running around.
Yeah.
No sympathy. I get exactly where you're coming from. I definitely say don't do any training in the daytime. From
Right,
when you
okay.
wake up. So definitely stretch in the morning. Stretching is for everybody, but focus on your day, get your tasks done. Don't train. You're just going to strain yourself during the day. Okay, I'm going to set you a challenge right now on the phone.
Okay.
We're going to do me and you together, because I've not been training myself, 100 press-ups. Just after Tarawih, before Sahri, we got that one period of time. You got 100 press-ups. You don't need to do them in one go.
Yeah.
You can do them in sets of 10. You can do them in sets of 5. For the next 20 days, that makes 2,000 press-ups, if I'm right.
Yeah.
No?
About 2,000 press-ups, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Perfect.
yeah, that sounds it sounds like quite a challenge, to be fair, because just at the
It's
start.
not quite a challenge. That's 10 press-ups, wait for a few minutes. 10
That's
press-ups,
true.
wait for a few minutes. You get 100 in, that's today's tick. Tomorrow, tick. And day by day, you'll find them easier. You'll probably start doing 200 or sets of 20. What that is we're still giving our body that burst of exercise, but it's small, it's short, it's effective, but we're not trying to overdo it. You know, we're going to have to save, for me and you and people in our situation right now, it's, I mean, if there was more hours in the day, then yeah, I'd definitely say open your because once you've opened your fast, you still got Tarawih. If you're not going to read Tarawih, you still got Isha. That is the time, if we're busy all day, where we're going to be catching up on Quran. Am I right?
Yeah.
So because of the time's limited, when it's time's limited, who was the other host that is into press-ups?
Oh, the Shafy.
Shaf. Yeah, so basically you could even get on FaceTime to Shaf just to make sure you're getting your reps out, and he's pushing you, because when you're going to be doing 20 by yourself, you probably gas out and not do the rest of them.
Yeah.
But if you're it's going to take you 5 minutes every day. It's short, it's effective, and for people like us who have got very busy, hectic lifestyles, I'd advise you to do that. If you're a sister listening to the show, even a brother and you don't like doing press-ups, you got to do 100 squats. So 10s or 20s, all the way down, back up, 100 reps, and it's a full body exercise. Press-ups is an upper body exercise, full upper body exercise. With the squats, you got a full lower body exercise. In fact, you can do both. You can give me 100 squats and you can give me 100 press-ups. This sounds a lot harder than it's going to be. The first day, yeah, it's going to be hard. Second day, and then after that, it'll get easier. But you asked me the question, you wanted to incorporate some fitness into your routine. So I've answered that question and I've given you something to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it was going to be easy, you'd be doing it right now.
Of course, yeah, 100%. Definitely.
So try to implement that in from today, inshallah.
Inshallah.
You definitely got to get the 100 press-ups. If you get the 100 squats, it's a bonus. So we leave it to that.
Okay, yeah, it's something I'll try with Shafy today on FaceTime.
What I'll do as well, get you to probably snap me doing 20 press-ups at a time.
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, what we're doing at the start of lockdown. Yeah, I mean, in considering, because I'm a lot more active than the rest of my peers here.
Are you?
I would say I am.
You're sat in the car most of the day.
No, I'm still.
No, you're not.
Yeah, bro, I'm watching about 20 cars a day. Just to let you know, I work at Enterprise, so I'm getting key workers and so on into their cars. But I'm watching a lot of cars as well. So because I'm keeping my active up all day. You know, the calorie intake I'm taking during iftar, so it's quite a bit. So I'm eating your fried foods as well at the same time. But would you say I'm counteracting?
You don't have if you're staying active all day,
yeah,
you literally see the people who are not doing nothing all day, or who are blessed to do all day. They are allowed to eat.
Right.
They are allowed to pick and choose, and you know, a bit are healthy, a bit are not healthy. If you got a busy, active day, trust me, you're gonna be killing yourself. You don't have that choice. You don't have that luxury. Essentially, your diet's gotta be clean and it's gotta be tidy. And yet, you can pick one or two things that are not healthy, but yeah, considering the amount of graft you're gonna have to do during the day. You're gonna need the mental focus. You're gonna need the energy, to keep up. So yeah, you're not allowed technically to be eating unhealthy.
Okay,
You're
fair
not
enough. I
allowed to
didn't
be
consider that.
indulging in all of these things. To be fair with you,
Okay,
yeah.
something I need to take note on. But yeah,
So Zaf, that was our 4 questions, and before we let you go for like a few minutes, if you can give us your advice on how to keep ourselves mentally, ready to be active in Ramadan and ready to take on new challenges like the 100 press up challenges, because if we haven't done it for the last 10 days, what can we change about our mentality?
I know we're talking about Ramadan, but something that people can carry outside of Ramadan too, not just give up whilst in Ramadan. So what can we implement, or what can people implement that they can sort of continue doing throughout the year?
So this is what I picked up on. Like Ramadan is a month where we're trying to get rid of all our bad habits, not just put them on pause for a month, right?
Absolutely.
So if the way to get rid of a bad habit isn't to cut that habit off, the way to get rid of a bad habit is to replace that habit with something good, and implementing something in. Because for example, with somebody's smoking. If you just stop the smoking by itself in Ramadan, after Ramadan, a few weeks in, you're going to be very likely to start smoking again as soon as you get stressed or something happens. However, if you replace that cigarette with something else, for example, a chewing gum or whatever it might be, during Ramadan, after Ramadan, you're going to still counteract that bad action, if that makes sense. Now, I picked the example of smoking, but you can relate that to anything in your life. So first of all, I'd say is when you're making these good habits, don't just do it for the month. Don't just think that you're going to be able to quit bad habits by stopping itself. You're going to have to find something positive to counteract that with, number one. And number two, I don't know if it was the second or the third question when we was talking about food and implementing good food into our diets. It is something we really, really, really should fear right now. From the Asian community, I mean, if brothers and sisters who are listening are from different communities, it does affect them, but not as much as our community. We need to wake up a little bit, and we need to understand the fact that we're going down a very dangerous path. Because when we come over originally 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago, we were still very fit people, and the food we were eating back in our countries was to fuel massive long days of hard labor, heat. Living in them countries, the conditions are different. Living in this country, the conditions are different. Living in this country, we do a lot less than what we do in them countries. So we brought our food over. We've added so much bad to our food. We've made the version so unhealthy. I mean, if you go Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, and you eat some of the food that you're eating in England, their versions are a lot healthier than what we're putting in ours, because our country don't produce the food, essentially. So what I'd say to people is just give it a few minutes thought as into what are you actually feeding your body, what are you putting inside your body, what good are you giving to your body? Because if you want to make money, if you want to pray, if you want to be successful, if you want to be a good parent, how do you think you get the first step of doing all these things is, if you're straight away at the advantage if you're feeding yourself good, you're healthy, you're fit yourself. So my advice to everybody would be finding things to take out of Ramadan. The most important being diet, and just picking and choosing stuff, doing some research, finding foods you're enjoying in Ramadan, and drag it out for the rest of the year. As soon as Ramadan finishes, bang, everybody's back to no breakfast, probably anything processed at lunchtime, burger meals, pizzas, you name it. We're just gonna indulge straight back in the deep side, and that's the shame, and it's a bit upsetting because, like I said to you, at least one person in every single household is affected with diabetes or high blood pressure. So unless we start making small changes and recognizing that we're going wrong and we need to start implementing good throughout the year, not just Ramadan, we won't really see our conditions getting any better. Now, essentially, yeah, that goes with the training as well. If Corona started and everybody started going a bit crazy for the weights and everybody wants to start working at home, and as soon as this is over, we're just gonna kind of just knock it on the head, as everybody usually does. Don't go too extreme with your training and your dieting, but if you start implementing small measures, right, bit by bit, trust me, 6 months in, you're going to be looking a lot better than what you would do if you didn't stop and you continued with your old routines 6 months in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, inshallah.
And you know what? You guys, 4 of you on the phone, have probably got some very, very mild health conditions yourself, just because of the way we're living. So if we're at such young ages and we're already starting to feel it, how do you think we're going to feel in 10, 20 years if you're going down the same route you're going down right now?
True.
Absolutely.
You
Oh,
know what I mean? And
that just hit hard.
I know.
I'm telling my own
Perspectives.
parents all the time that Ibadah isn't just, getting onto a mat and reading Quran. This is the way our minds are being tuned, is to think that is Ibadah. Ibadah is also waking up and being healthy, feeding your mind good, positive things, eating good, earning halal money. There's a lot more to Islam than just, there's a lot more to praying and a lot more to worshipping than literally just opening a book or going onto a prayer mat. So I think we should open our minds towards that as also sunnah to wrestle, wrestling is a type of sport. So if we're going on a run every day, this is a run that you're going on every day, do you think that's beneficial? I'm just going to ask you this, even though this sounds pretty ridiculous. How do you think that's beneficial, running every day?
I guess so. I mean, definitely.
That's the most unconfident I've seen Johan ever.
Would you say that's going to improve your health going for a run every day?
I believe so, yeah.
I think you'd come to a plateau after a while, maybe.
Yeah, okay, let's put it on let me slap it on the other head then. Imagine you stopped today and you stopped doing this run.
No, I mean, of course, if I keep running, I'm only going to get... I mean, look, I've been running for about 10 days now in Ramadan.
Mm-hmm.
I already feel better. And that's God's honest truth. On the first day, I was just wheezing and it was just terrible. Alhamdulillah, 2 nights ago, I ran and it was brilliant. I mean, it wasn't as bad as it was to begin with in the beginning of the month.
So, first of all, you just said yourself that, it's made you feel better, first of all. Second of all, you're committing an allocated time to running, right?
Yeah.
So we need to right now understand what is beneficial to us, not just to the body, not just to the mind, but Islamically, are we benefiting? If you're taking your time out to do something that's benefiting your body, that Allah has gifted us with, if you're taking your time out to do something that mentally is going to stimulate you, if you're taking something that is going to challenge you, right? And if you go in with your brothers for a run at the same time, I'm sure I heard you say 2, 3 of you are running at the same time.
Yeah.
You're essentially earning good deeds. You're essentially doing something that God will be pleased with. Do you know what I mean? So these are the things that you want to take out of Ramadan with you.
Right.
These are the acts of worship that you don't necessarily value or see massively, but they are.
100%.
And these are the things that will keep your soul clean, your mind clean, because with our phone, it's even though we're praying all the time, sometimes we ask ourselves, how come I'm so easily distracted when I'm praying? How come I'm so inclined to just going on these websites and seeing this and seeing that? It's because you can't just go onto a prayer mat and take, some books out and think, yeah, it's just going to fix everything. You have to take the same measures as you do when you're indulging into bad. You have to take the same measures into doing good. And, the stuff that's challenging, like the run on the first day that is the stuff that's going to benefit you the most. Not just physically, not just mentally, but I'd personally say Islamically as well, because essentially you're pushing your body and you're forcing your body towards something good.
100%.
Understand?
I appreciate that. Thanks, son. That really, really helped. Hopefully, I'll have some 6-pack by the end of Ramadan.
Inshallah.
But it's just small, steady race, man. Get away from these fad diets. Get away from these TV companies that are just selling these slim fast shakes, and the rest of it is all a fraud. There's no shortcuts. There's no, quick fixes. People are spending billions making new products and whatever it may be. The fitness industry is going crazy. I sell supplements myself, but the first thing I promote is a diet, a good diet. Then I promote exercise. Once you're hitting all your targets, then you can start implementing some supplements. But supplements only come up to about 10%, if you're hitting everything right. So just start finding good habits when it comes to your diet. Find good habits when it comes to your exercise, and don't rush it. I'd rather you do 10 press-ups a day for the rest of the year than do 1,000 for the first few and then not do them again. It's consistency and finding small habits.
100%.
Appreciate the bits.
That's brilliant advice, and it's been great talking to you, getting insight from you, and also thank you very much for answering our questions as well. Inshallah, we'll try to get you on again, but this time for a different reason, not just health related, but also to inspire a few people and talk about your journey to where you are now, inshallah. That can be at a later date. But before we let you go, do you just want to let us know, apart from Get Fit with Team ZPT on YouTube, where else can we find you online?
Whoever's listening to this, we don't need your money. Alhamdulillah, we're running just fine, but people are scared to contact us or get in touch because they think we're just going to take their money from them. Straight away, what I'd say to you is if you're looking for ideas diet-wise, get onto the YouTube channel. I've put a power shake up. I will continuously keep adding more things on. Follow me on Instagram. Every single day on my Instagram story, I'm trying to promote small ideas that you can start implementing. I put all my own food up so you know exactly what you can and should be eating. Exercise-wise, if you basically, what I'd say to everybody at home is just follow the movement. It's Team ZPT, the business account. Zafta PT is my personal account. If you have, watch the story, watch what we're doing, and then when you have some questions, you can just fire in the DMs. But if you're following somebody who's keeping fit every day, if you're following somebody who's doing something active every day, after a bit, you're going to start getting involved yourself. If you're following people who are not, if you're following the wrong sort of people on Instagram, you're just going to go down that road. Like, if you're following musicians and artists and everything else, then, you need to also on social, because everybody has a phone and everybody's on social media. So essentially, follow fitter people. I'm one of them, so you can follow me. It's Zafta PT on Instagram, Snapchat, you name it. And if you're seeing it every day, I suppose it will motivate you a bit more. If you want to get onto the 16-week challenge, if you want to get your diet plans, Ramadan plans, it's a bit late for the Ramadan plans. There's 20 days left, but we're still catering for people for fat loss or for muscle maintenance. You don't need no equipment. I could sit here all day promoting the business. What I'd say to anybody who needs a bit more help with their fitness, a bit more guidance, a step in the right direction, just follow us on socials and get in touch. Stay safe, stay healthy, and just be happy, guys, man. Just keep your mind, keeping your mind, your body, and your whole body, everything happy is not just indulging in stuff that you want to do. Sometimes it's indulging in stuff that you don't want to do and stuff that's challenging, but essentially you know what's good for your body and you know what's not good for your body. So try to implement a lot more of the good and cut out a bit more of the bad, inshallah.
Inshallah. That's great advice. Zaf, we're going to let you go now and wrap up the show, inshallah. But we'll be in contact soon with you, yeah? Have a great rest of your Ramadan, inshallah. And keep us in your dua. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Take it.
So that was the second of our guests, Zaf PT, speaking more about the practical side of what we can do in Ramadan. Just to wrap up, we had Nazir earlier on, who left us with 3 tips, and there were more to help us with our mindset during Ramadan and lockdown, and how we can get out and do workouts. And it was to write down a plan of like giving ourselves 10 to 15 minutes in the day to work out, and just have that plan ready in your mind. and then drink a lot of water, and also know what we want to become in the future. And then Zaf also giving us some advice on food and routine. And the main thing that I want to bring out from that is the fact that he mentioned we need to keep a routine and to keep a habit going in Ramadan, because that's what Ramadan's about. Not only creating habit of our Islamic deeds, but also other habits, other great habits. And one of them is a routine, for our exercise and for our fitness. We are going to wrap up the show. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. But we'd love to do this again, inshallah. We'd love to get more guests on and talk about these things that affect us. Before we go, you can find us on social media on Ramadan Radio Wolverhampton. You can find us on Ramadan Radio Wolves everywhere. And the show itself, you can find us on Better Together Show on Instagram, Be Together Show on Twitter, and you can find us on Facebook as well. Do submit what you want to hear. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Tomorrow we'll be talking about work-life balance in Ramadan. And other than that, that's all we have time for today. We're going to leave you with Icy Fire by Johan, J.A. Vocals. It's an exclusive that we're playing on Ramadan Radio Wolverhampton. And this releases tomorrow on Wednesday at 6 p.m. So enjoy the rest of your evening and day, and enjoy the rest of your Ramadan. We shall
And if the night is burning, I will cover my eyes, raise my hands up high and pray my brothers don't die. As the bombs are falling down and crash into my empty town, and with the shadow upon the ground, and hear my people screaming out, I see fire inside my people. I see fire burning our trees. I see fire burning our homes. I see fire, blood in the breeze. I see fire. Oh, I see my people